That's not right. Yo, what going on? It's welcome to another episode of the Same Difference podcast. How you doing? How you doing? We got caught up with another discussion that we probably should have included in the podcast, but we're here now. Welcome to the first ever, might be the last, we don't know yet. Tarot Thursdays. We got Mr. Akeem McIntosh. What going on?
Yeah, man, this a pastime of mine, and it's a pleasure to be able to share it with the public, And like I always tell people, I kind of feel like part of my purpose is to share vibes and knowledge and wisdom with the people. So I give thanks for the opportunity to do that,
That's what's up. So if you're just joining us, we are going to have a live tarot reading. Nisi is going to actually read. She's going to ask the questions because I don't know what to ask. She's going to ask the questions. I hope you get his cards ready and we're going to get into it. But yeah, it's Tarot Thursdays. But before we do that, we're going to play the actual right Beautiful Being footage. We'll be right back. If I can find it now, because me use it so long.
Well, we just played it.
Yeah, man, I got fired a producer. You the wrong intro clip. That's what that was.
I was like, we just did that intro.
It's Thursday. It is not Sunday, it's Thursday.
Retrograding, what's going on over here?
So, all right. Welcome to another live episode. It's your boy Ja and
Nisi, good night.
And we got Akeem McIntosh. Now, Mr. Akeem, can you please tell the people how we got here and why this is not the devil?
Okay, so I could only give you my personal experience interpretation of how this whole process will work, right? But I started doing tarot readings. I went on a trip to South Africa, and a lady who I met there, I did a reading with a lady there, and she was like, you should start doing tarot readings for yourself. And leading up to that trip, I myself was told by another person that I should start doing tarot readings for myself. So I kind of took that as a sign, and I started studying tarot and started doing readings for my friends and co-workers and stuff like that. And eventually in 2020, when COVID set in and everybody was at home, I was kind of like, well, I want to do readings and I got nothing but time on my hands, so why not? And I started doing live readings on Facebook for I think for a year. From 2020 to 2021, I was doing live readings on Facebook, and that was a cool experience, because for one, it showed me that you don't really have to have a physical connection with an individual in order to have an accurate reading, and to try and understand or make sense of that particular thing. And I can't say this definitively. This is just how I interpret it, right? I feel like we all have different spirits that work with us in our life, right? You have family that might have passed, and friends, ancestors, and different spirits that's assigned to support you throughout your life. But they're on a higher frequency or vibration than we're able to actually perceive. But they still interact with us sometimes in different ways through injecting certain thoughts in our mind. We probably have a certain thought, and you hear a song that kind of confirm what you were thinking of, or you might smell a smell of somebody, maybe like your great grandmother, who died when you was a little child. These moments kind of show you that they're present around you. How I interpret the whole interaction of doing readings is that my spirits, my ancestors, my guides and stuff are connecting with your spirit, your guides, your higher self, and so on, and they're doing their exchange in whatever spiritual astral realm or whatever, wherever they are. and they're putting the information into the cards, basically. Because every tarot reader has a different way of actually interpreting the cards or interpreting the interaction, or facilitating the process in general. Some people will shuffle the deck and then have you break the deck, and then you have other people who will just shuffle the deck, and whatever falls out. That's the route I actually choose to go, so that I could try and keep my energy out of it, or my influence out of it as much as I can. So, like I said, I feel like our individual guides are working with each other, communicating, interacting with each other in the background. And your guides know what message you need. My guides know what cards I need to see to interpret the message effectively, and they determine what cards fall out. And I just interpret the cards again based on the question, or just if we're doing a general reading, I interpret the cards based on the meanings of the cards. I weave like a story together, or like a scenario together based on the meanings of the cards, and then you would then know just how relevant it is to your life. But I won't say I'm 10 out of 10, but a lot of times it turns out to be pretty accurate. So yeah.
You said that you were in South Africa. Where that echo coming from? You said that you were in South Africa when you met the lady that was doing the readings. So is that a part of African culture, or was she from somewhere else? Or?
No. Well, no, she was actually a white woman. South Africa is a very diverse culture, community, or place, kind of similar to St. Croix. But where she was from New Zealand. I think she was from New Zealand. I think it was something like that, But she was a regular person. Nothing like, not to say like it's like a witch doctor in South Africa or anything like that I cross paths with, But nonetheless, it was a very enlightening experience, and I don't know if y'all believe in synchronicities, but okay, well, no, let's do this, because this is similar to, I like to use these stories or these moments to kind of show how things can actually align, how synchronicities exist. So at least maybe it might just be my own desire to see like some kind of spiritual force at work in my life. Okay. But I just like to share these kind of stories, because sometimes it's interesting to see how all of these things fall in place. So 2017, this was in 2017. The trip was initially supposed to be in October of 2017. It was not October, in December of 2017. It was a trip that was being organized by UVI. I can't remember the name of the program, but it was a trip that was being organized by UVI, and this was a time when I was still working in UVI. I had a friend who was also working in another office in UVI, and she found out about the trip, and she was like overjoyed and excited about the trip, and she was like she was trying to recruit a bunch of different people to join the trip. So again, this is in like the fall of 2017, and she told me about the trip, and I was like, wow, I'd like to go, but I don't know how I'm gonna pay for this trip. I gotta figure that out. So the trip was $4,000, and around the time, not too long after I found out about the trip, Maria happened. So, well, Irma and Maria happened. So after that, they decided to postpone the trip in from December to May of 2018. And this was in October that I found out that the trip was postponed. So when I found out the trip was postponed, I was like, cool, that's nice. I actually could probably have a little more time to figure out how I'm gonna pay for this trip. So now, around that same time that I found out that the trip was postponed, and I, in my mind, just, playing with that or ideas as to how I'm going to pay for this trip, my stepmother called me, and she asked me if I wanted to be in a pool hand. For those of you who don't know what's a pool hand or a susu hand, or in other cultures they'll call it, it's basically where a number of people pool their money together, and every week somebody gets a payout. So I had agreed to be in the pool hand because the payout would have been $4,200 or $4,200, and I would have gotten my payout. I got my payout. I would have gotten my payout on April 5th, and the last day for the payments for the trip was April 7th. So I was like, what? That can't be nothing more than God. So I joined the pool, and I will making my payments every week from October all the way to April, made my payment, and then I end up going on a trip to South Africa. Now, one of my personal goals was to have like a spiritual exchange with somebody over there. Me thinking, I probably gonna cross paths with somebody who is like a witch doctor or something like that, and hoping to have some kind of enlightening experience. But like I said, I end up linking with this lady, a white lady from, I think she was from New Zealand or something like that. But either way, ended up in this place called the Watershed. And this building was kind of like a big warehouse type building by the water that looked like kind of like cashless. But it was filled with different booths or partitions or spaces that were partitioned into booths for vendors to sell a ton of different items, from clothes to crystals to books to whatever you name it. You had somebody in there selling it, right? So I saw this this light up sign that says psychic. So that drew my attention. So I went to find out, learn more about it, and potentially get a reading. So now around that same time, I was singing. I had just started singing in a band called Nature Force, and the guy who was singing in the band, who was kind of the organizer in the band, his wife, her name was Zana, right? The woman who was doing the reading, her name was Zana, right? So that was another synchronicity for me. And then on top of that, the day I went to do my reading was June 2nd. My birthday is February 6th. So, in our dating system, we do month, day, year. So February 6th would be 2-6, right? In South Africa, they do day, month, year. So day June 2nd is 2-6. So for me, it was like I would come in when I paid for you had to pay for the reading first, right? And how it played out is that I was only paying for like a half an hour or 20 minutes or something like that. But I was the last reading of the day. So the lady who was taking the money, she took the payment and she went about her business. So I ended up staying there talking to the woman for like an hour and a half after paying for just like a half an hour reading or something like that. So it was like I came after I paid for the reading and I saw the receipt. I saw the date and the receipt and I said, wow, it's like today is my birthday, man. Because I seen 2-6 as if it's February 6th when it's June 2nd. So that in itself, in addition to all of the other experiences that I told you about that led up to that specific moment, just felt to me like very significant and synchronistic. And like I said, prior to going on the trip, a friend of mine, she had told me I should start doing tarot readings for myself, and then this lady now tell me that I should start doing tarot readings, period. I was like, wow. And I always been into like spiritual stuff, so for me that was like God talking to me in that moment. And from there I started studying the tarot to understand the tarot, and from getting a basic understanding, started experimenting with doing readings for people. And then to better understand the tarot, I started studying astrology. I already had somewhat of like exposure to astrology, but I didn't really take astrology seriously or dive deeply into astrology until I started doing tarot. And then from understanding astrology, I started to really understand myself and my experience a lot better, because I saw connections or like similarities in what was being said in my reading, my birth chart, and looking at my life, and I saw relevance in it, So yeah, that's how we got here today.
Thank you. So there is a connection, you believe, to God and the spirit and the tarot readings too. So there's no confusion.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I look at it. At the end of the day, we all have that. So the Bible itself said the kingdom of heaven is within you, right? So I personally interpret all of that to say that, like, the kingdom of heaven is ultimately God and God's place. And I interpret all of that to say that we have the same level of connection. Well, not the same level of connection, but we have a connection to God that allows us to do certain things that we might not realize we're capable of doing until like circumstances happen that kind of reveal to us exactly what we're capable of.
Okay.
So yeah, I believe we all have the potential to tap into different parts of ourselves. It's just you have to have the willingness to learn and hone the ability. It's just like how they talk about woman intuition. Sometimes a woman knows something before they really know it, and to them, I mean, to other people, they might seem crazy, but circumstances later on to prove that they know what they're talking about.
Right.
So yeah.
So tell us how does it work? Like I just ask a random question, or you need information from me? How does this work, sir?
If you're doing a tarot reading, you could just pose a question. You could either pose a question, or we could just do a general reading. What I do most of the time when I do readings for people, if they have a question, a specific question, again, so most people, their questions that they would come with would either be pertaining, most of the time, pertaining to like love and like finance or career type questions. Every now and again I might get a health related question or like a obia related question, but love and finances is primarily. And when I say obia, I mean, like, people want to know if somebody walking on them and them kind of stuff.
Okay.
So yeah,
not for you to do it. Not like, hey, I need you to fix
not
this.
for me to like cleanse or remove it and all of that. For me to fix that person. No. I can't do all of that. Me know nothing about them things. I just know how to read the card them, how to read vibes, and kind of share insight. That's about it.
All right. Well, Nisi is the one that's gonna ask questions because I really don't know what to ask other than will this podcast ever blow up?
You don't know what to ask. You have things in your life that you want some kind of insight or clarification.
I'm a simple dude, man. I'm a simple dude, and I just let life kind of happen, dog. Like
that's what it is.
Like really, I go with the flow. I don't really want for much either. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you ain't got want for much. You ain't have to want for much, but sometimes we end up in situations where it's like, okay, we're here because we need to be here, and we don't necessarily want to leave because I need this money. You check, but you might feel in yourself like there's potential. Okay, so a good example. When I was working for the park service, I wanted to leave. Well, even before I started working for the park service, I wanted to like leave the workforce and work for myself. I just didn't have like the confidence to do so at that time. But that would be a prime like opportunity or a good time to actually do a reading to get clarification as to whether or not you should stay in that situation or if there is better opportunities out there for you if you decide to leave. You know what I mean? So it don't have to be a love situation where am I going to find love in my life or what do I need to do to attract my soulmate? It don't have to be them kind of like deep philosophical or superficial kind of questions. You know what I mean? And I know deep and superficial are two different ends of the spectrum, but it don't have to be. You could ask a question on anything that you want clarification or insight on. You know what I mean? I just don't ask me about the winning lotto numbers because I can't give that.
That's all they're talking about in the comments. That's all they're talking about.
Hey, listen, right? My father forever telling me he just want you see, find out the winning lotto numbers. Everybody always looking for some kind of edge.
What's the first question?
Okay, so let's do this. We're gonna do a general reading for you want to do a general. We could do a general reading for Same Difference podcast. And then from there, what I would usually do is if the person don't have anything specific that they want to know about, I would do a general reading for them, and then based on the information that comes from that, then if they have follow-up questions, then
That sounds good.
we'll go based on that.
That sounds good. Let's do that.
So
And yes, people, he used to do these tarot readings on Facebook, so you might be able to get a little question in. We gonna pose them on the screen like we've been doing. So, hey, just go ahead and throw them out. Man. Man, get out of here with them. Will I get out of the situation that I'm in? Questions like this, does it be too vague or like that? That's I guess is where I'm stuck. Questions like this, is it too vague? Is it cool? Like,
I mean, yeah, it's fine. It's fine because at the end of the day, again, like I said, how I interpret it, the spirits really know what going on. You check. So once that line of communication is open, meaning like the intention is set to facilitate this connection and channel some information to that specific individual, my guys gonna connect with their guides wherever they're there and present the information necessary. Now the only way it would be specific to us is if like she or is, well, let me not say she, I don't know if it's a she or a he, but the person shares more information and then like the cards kind of like validate that. But what end up happening majority of the time is I would just pull the cards, the person would then comment, usually end up commenting whether or not that was accurate, or they would share details about the situation to kind of like show like the specifics or how it connects to what came up in the reading basically.
Okay. All right, so Maria, we got you. I hold that question. We got you. We here. We're gonna get this general reading going on first for the podcast, and then we're gonna go from there. But Nisi, you didn't want nothing read. You just wanted to be here. She just wanted to witness.
I know you don't be asking already.
5 cards for same difference podcast.
Man, I wish we had like the upper view to watch his hand and stuff. That'd be dope. All right, so let me make note. Maria waiting for her question. Oh shoot, Nisi gonna ever get remarried? Uh oh. I don't like that. What's happening?
Interesting. Okay. So I just gotta take a moment to look at the cards and try to interpret, kind of come up with or process it in my mind before I start to talk,
Okay.
But a lot of times that's just me as a curious overthinking things. Sometimes I just gotta break it down piece by piece and like I'll come together as I go through it, right? So let me see.
Can't really see it. All right. Okay. Yeah,
so,
we can see it. Is it upside down? Why is it upside down?
It's upside down. So the tarot is made up of 78 cards, right? The traditional playing cards that we know is 52. It actually comes from the tarot deck, right? The tarot is broken up comprised of 2 decks, the major and the minor arcana. The major is 22 cards. The minor arcana is the remaining 56 cards, right? So you have 56 cards. It went from 56. You remove the minor arcana, the 22 cards of the minor arcana, and you have the remainder 56. 56 actually is converted to the 52 playing cards because you have King, Queen, Jack in the playing card deck. In the tarot deck, you have King, Queen, Knight, and Page. The Knight and Page will combined to make the Jack. So instead of 4 court cards, you have 3 court cards, and you have 4 suits. Just like how you have the diamond in the playing cards, you have the coin in the tarot. You have the swords in the playing cards. You have the spade in the tarot. You have the wands in the playing cards. You have the club you have the club in the playing cards. You have the wands in the tarot. And then what's the next one? Why am I missing? Hearts. You have hearts in the playing cards, and you have cups in the tarot, right? So all of that basically the same four suits that you have in the playing cards you have in the tarot deck, and each element, each suit is associated with a specific element, and each element represents or is symbolic of a different energy that's relevant to life in general. So coins or pentacles are associated with earth energy, which pertains to the physical, meaning like our finances, our career, our living circumstances, and our health and well-being. Cups are associated with water, which is emotional energy and spiritual energy. So it pertains to our emotions and our intuition, and stuff of that nature. Wands, on the other hand, is associated with fire, which is our creative energy and the life-giving force. So it determines, it talks about like our passion, how we create, our ability and desire and willpower to actually create and manifest things in our life in general. And then you have the swords, which are associated with air, which pertains to our thoughts, beliefs, philosophies, and how we communicate and express ourselves. So that's the minor arcana, and those represent like smaller daily happenings in our life. Whereas the major arcana now is supposed to represent like major, more significant God ordained experiences or moments or like happenings in our life, for lack of a better word. So, and lastly, cards could come up upright or reversed. When it's upright, that's the energy that's prevalent in your life at that specific time, or energy that you're being encouraged to embrace. When it's reversed, that's an energy that you're struggling with, or energy that you're being encouraged to release.
Okay. Can you show that card one more time up at the screen that I got you full size? And which card
this
is this?
here, this is the Queen of. Okay, so this deck that I'm using, this is the Afro-Brazilian deck, right? And it's very much influenced by Ifa. I don't know if y'all are familiar with the concept of Ifa, but or the religious the African religious tradition or traditional religion called Ifa. Ifa is ultimately the phone, and you know, anybody who knows Ifa, feel free to comment and correct me if I saying anything incorrect, because I just going based off of the little bit that I think of, right? But Ifa is basically the from what I understand Ifa to be, Ifa is ultimately the foundation of practices like or related to practices like voodoo and Obia and Santeria. Well, Santeria ultimately came out of Ifa. But Ifa is, if y'all ever heard about Oshun and Shango, and well, I don't know if they have any other orishas that's as notable public to the general public as Oshun and Shango. But those orishas or deities actually come out of Ifa. And it's a traditional practice that comes out of South Africa. Not South Africa, sorry. Comes out of Africa in general, but spread across the world with as a result of slavery. People moving from different places throughout the Caribbean and the Western Wall, bringing their African practices with them. So yeah, but this deck here is significantly influenced by Ifa and Ifa practices. So each card have its own meaning generally as a tarot card, but then there are additional like not influence, but like insights that you can take from the imagery of the card as well. You know, so that's additional background information. Yeah, and it's as the person said, it's as you see, it's a system of divination, you know. So yeah, I've actually had Ifa readings done for me, and they were pretty accurate, I would say. So something else to consider if you're interested in learning more about yourself. And Ifa is also more geared towards you like living or figuring out what's your purpose and becoming more attuned to your purpose when you work with Ifa practitioners and the different orishas to actually guide you towards fulfilling your purpose in life. So okay, so back to the card.
You got me nervous, right? Please come on.
So So this card here, this is the Queen of Swords, right? And you have it reversed. So the Queen of Swords is a card. Oh, so the queen. Okay, so the court cards all represent a different level of mastery of that particular element, right? So the swords, like I said, represent our philosophies, our thoughts, our beliefs, and the way we communicate with each other. So and then, like I said, cards could come up upright or reverse. If it's upright, that's an energy that we have in our life, or we being encouraged to embrace. If it's reversed, that's an energy that we struggling with, or we need to release, right? So now, seeing the Queen of Swords come up, the Queen of Swords is like a feminine mastery of the air element, a feminine mastery of communication and philosophy, belief, knowledge, wisdom, those kind of mental aspects of life. And the Queen is usually described, you see, might not like this, right? But the typical archetype that's associated with the Queen of Swords is the bitch, right? And when they say the bitch, it mean like a promiscuous woman, but a woman who's very cutting with her words, very direct and very straightforward and very cold. Could be somewhat cold and insensitive in how she expresses her position, let's say, So seeing this card come up in reverse, what I would think is there's a need to either watch the way you share your content, I mean, the things that's expressed in the content, making sure that it probably isn't anybody who anything that's I don't want to say derogatory, but like kind of like anything that could serve as a deterrent for the public, you know what I mean? Because again, the Queen of Swords is somebody who could be very like cutting or very insensitive, or like people could be standoffish with the Queen of Swords because of the things that she says, you know what I mean, and how she brings across her message. Because the swords are usually considered like a cold, calculated energy, a detached kind of energy. So it's not a matter of like, whereas like say cups would be more like compassionate and considerate and want to, and even earth would be like more like nurturing, where we want to kind of take your feelings into consideration and make sure you feel good about what's being said or what you sharing. The Queen of Swords, or swords in general, is like, no, this is what it is, and this is how you're gonna get it. It's either you're gonna take it or leave it, and that's actually, I think that would kind of describe your podcast kind of accurately, because you're just presenting information as it is. It's either you like it or you don't like it, you take it or leave it, So
that's interesting. That's interesting to me, because there's a clip from the live stream from Sunday that I have queued up, and I've been wondering if to release it. I've been going back and forth if to release this thing, because it could start a shitstorm. So that's very interesting. So go ahead.
Well, hey, listen, right? What come to your mind, right? That's the guidance. That's the situation, I guess, that would be relevant to what's being shared, But okay. So the next card you have now is the Five of Cups.
Five of Cups, okay.
Yeah. And this card here shows a cat on a table knocking down a vase, right? But the Five of Cups is a card that usually represents a sense of like loss, a sense of like the typical adage that's associated with this one is like crying over spilled milk, and it suggests that there is potential, or like challenges that could come up, that might lead to like a sense of loss and difficulty and like hardship, emotional hardship for the Same Difference podcast. And it might be related to this here, the Six of Wands. And the Six of Wands, okay, so this one is reversed. The Six of Wands, and I'm gonna leave this one up so because I'm gonna draw reference from the card, because this particular, in this deck, I interpret this card a little bit differently than what it traditionally means, right? But the Six of Wands traditionally means like riding on a high horse, right? gain like acknowledgement and recognition for the things that you do or things that you might have accomplished, right? And with it being reversed, so I gonna interpret this card in two ways that it could apply to this particular situation, or just I'll interpret it in two ways, right? The first way, having this reverse could suggest that like there may be challenges and difficulties with receiving the acknowledgement that you deserve, right? Or it could also represent you know, a need to be humble, because the like I said, traditionally this card represents like riding on a high horse, being on a high horse, right? So it could be like being like not overzealous, being like arrogant and overconfident and stuff of that nature, to the point that it's like not a deterrent, but it's like, you know, it kind of give people like make people don't want to engage with you because you're arrogant. Not saying that that's what's going to happen. That's just one of the potential ways that this could be interpreted. But like I said, the other one is not necessarily getting the acknowledgement that you desire or deserve. Now, and if I talking about like if I interpreting it from the imagery alone, now the imagery, you see this man or a woman, whatever that is, I think, anyways, a person. You see a person basically pouring sticks in a vase, right? But the person splitting them evenly, right? So this could suggest a need to split your energy, because remember, wands represent fire, which is like our creative energy. And this could represent a need to split your energy, your creative energy equally and evenly, so that you don't burn yourself out. But you have it reversed. So then it could also interpret that you're struggling with balancing how you use your energy in producing the podcast. You know what I mean? You want to make sure that moving forward, you want to balance your energy in order to like produce it accurately and effectively and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
So we going good so far.
Yeah. You're on track. You're on point.
All right. So now you have the 10 of Cups, right? And I wish this thing could have focused a little bit more. Let me put my face behind of it. So, anyway, you can see it right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's
okay.
Good.
So the 10 of Cups, right? The 10 of Cups is usually a card that represents emotional fulfillment and completion of an emotional satisfaction, but it's more of a sense of like fulfillment from the perspective of like family, right? And like more of a group rather than personal satisfaction or fulfillment. But now what's interesting here, drawing reference from the card, the imagery of the card, this card here, you could see this person is almost as if he's making an offering. So if you ever engage with Ifa or been to like a Ifa ceremony, they do like they make offerings to the ancestors and stuff like that. They do like altars and so on to kind of honor the ancestors, right? So that's kind of like the imagery. That's kind of the vibe that I gained from this card here, where this guy, he has like a number of cups outlined, and then he has one over his head as if like he's presenting it to a spirit or to an energy to make an offering so that he could experience fulfillment and satisfaction. So I say this, I see this card to mean that in balance, and then this is the third card out of 5. This is in the middle, right? Out of the 5 cards I have laid out, right? So to me, this card holds a certain level of significance over the rest, right? Because it's at the center of the reading. So it suggests that there's a significant need to make sure you balance your energies, how you expressing yourself, how you are devoting your energy to producing the Same Difference podcast, so that you're not hey, listen, I don't make sacrifices. I just see a comment that I don't make sacrifices. I don't know nothing about them thing yet. You know what I mean? So yeah. But yeah, there's an important need to make sure that you're balancing your energy while working on producing and distributing the information or the content that comes out of the Same Difference podcast. And by balancing your energies, there's going, and also this is reversed, right? So it could also suggest a need for less or less of a need to focus on the acknowledgement and the attention and the recognition that you desire and deserve, and just focusing on balancing your energy and doing what you need to do in order to produce your content, and let the acknowledgement come with time through the fulfillment that comes from the hard work, you know.
Yeah.
Now, lastly, you have the Lovers card, right? And this one is interesting. The lovers card is traditionally a card of decision, but also a card of balance, right? Because it talks about, it usually depicts a man and a woman, right? But to symbolize balancing of the masculine and feminine energies, right? So with this being reversed, this could suggest that there's a need for balance between the masculine and the feminine of the energies of the podcast, right? So masculine energies traditionally are associated with like competition, assertiveness, aggression, direction, directness, and planning, structuring, rigidity, those kind of things, right? And then the feminine is more nurturing, intuitive, compassionate, considerate, those kind of energies, right? So it's a need to balance how we take action and the things that we bring across to the show, or to the viewers, the listeners, and stuff like that, but also being creative, being strategic, there's a word I'm looking for, tactful about the information that we bring across, right? But it could also represent like marital and relationship issues as well. You know, I need to balance your relationships. So it could be a need for both you and Nisi to balance how y'all approaching y'all topics, just the show in general. Because I mean, ultimately it's two hosts, so, and it's two people that's relevant to the podcast. So it can be that like one person making all the decisions or one person putting in all the work. They were definitely, going back to this card, there's a need to balance the energy. It could probably be the balance in how the work is being distributed, a balance in how the planning is being done. You know what I mean? Ain't all about Nisi got share her insight and her thoughts and ideas as well. Or Nisi, you can monopolize the thing. You know what I mean? Ja have to get his insight. I mean, I don't know you prefer a beer over a man. You check. So you think beers. So you know, you gotta give the man a little opportunity every now and again to share his insight. You know what I mean? You know, and take his ideas into consideration every now and again to balance the thing. That's the only way that we're gonna be able to have that fulfillment and satisfaction that we're looking for, and that, you know, that acknowledgement and recognition that the Same Difference podcast deserves.
Wow.
And that's basically that.
Wow. What do you think about that reading, Nisi?
You done?
Yeah.
It was good until you opened fire on me. I was
listen. That was just a
you see how the man just open up on me unprovoked, right? And then confused.
That's why you prefer the beer.
Unprovoking. I didn't listen, paying attention. Like, okay, like the man just open fire on me.
Oh man. I think that the reading was on point. I could see like it all pointing back to balancing, and that was very insightful.
And again, it don't have to be a literal thing. Have to be a literal balancing of work between you two. It could be like symbolic as well. Like I said, let's say for instance, you're planning out your guests for the month or whatever. You know what I mean? You want to make sure that you have a balance between man and woman. You want to make sure you have a balance between people who engage in competitive kind of arenas versus, and in addition to people who engage in more like feminine type arenas, such as different people who are therapists and philosophers and stuff like that, because those kind of energies are more feminine and intuitive, whereas people who are business minded or like engineers and stuff like that, that would be like more masculine kind of energies. You know what I mean? So having a balance in that kind of information that you're disseminating, because remember the first thing that you came up with was the Queen of Swords, and the Queen of Swords in general is communication, and you're in the communication field. So that has to be taken in, that it have to be looked through that lens as well, right? Making sure that the information that you're disseminating are balanced in the energy type of energy, both masculine and feminine, as you plan in your monthly guests or your monthly topics and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So
Gotcha.
things to consider.
No, heard. I definitely see where that can come in, and yeah, we could work on that in multiple different facets for sure. Balance is always necessary in any working relationship, and in a friendship and whatever. So yeah, I feel it.
Yeah. So
So
any follow-up questions, or you want to do like a personal something now?
Nisi, you got any follow-up questions?
No, I think it was insightful. I get the concept and the relativeness of how the cards connect to each other. So yeah,
I don't know. Nisi, hit him with a. I still don't have a personal question. Like,
for you. I thought he was shuffling, so I was giving him a second.
Oh no. Go ahead. You go.
Oh.
I was just kind of collecting the cards I had laid.
My question would be for Ja would be, what area does he need to work on healing from?
Wow. Okay. That's perfect. That's perfect. Ja, you sure you want them to get your business all on here like this?
I'm reconsidering now.
Let me tell you something. The comment is not about Ja. Every question and there's about Nisi. You would.
I think you're talking about the answer to your question now.
I mean, true, but these a whole wedding game plan in the comments is crazy to me.
A whole wedding?
Yeah, they want to know when she gonna get married.
Okay, so I need your full name because I ain't want to say Ja, because Ja is God. You check. So I want to be specific as to who I referring to specifically.
My name is.
What's your first name? What's your first? Jamal. All right, right there, Jamal. All right. What's the question again? What he need to heal from, right?
What area? Yeah.
All right.
Can't wait to hear this one.
Jana, you could think of one question to ask for me, and that way we just talk about, it'll be fair and we're balancing our energy.
I think exactly.
When will Nisi get married?
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I got you.
I've already been married, so I've done that already. Don't ask that question.
Sound like you prefer to marry out here.
He gonna left off on your next.
So the man injured me and then come back to see me injured again.
I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I'm just saying. I just
you see, that thing marinating in your brain and your conscious, and you don't even realize it. and now it can't fester no more. You have to express yourself. That you see?
All right,
You
let me
reading
focus
cards
on
or you trying to read?
you can't turn it off, you know. You can't turn it off.
Man just attacking
Whether
me.
you're reading cards or you're reading people, you can't turn it off.
You see.
Gosh.
Okay. All right. So I have 5 cards in front of me. The
Mhm.
first card is the Page of Cups.
Hold
Right.
up.
And
The Who of
page,
Cups?
so like the Page of Cups.
Okay.
Right. So like I mentioned earlier, you have court cards, right? They're also considered to be character cards. They could represent personalities, energies, personas, people. This is cups are associated with water element, water energies. So or water signs as well. I know you're a Libra, but again, you have a full chart. So you may have like some significant Pisces energy or Cancer or Scorpio energy. Or at one point in your life, you carry that kind of energy as well, because the Page of Cups represents like I said, it could represent anybody who is a water sign, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, or have significant water energy in their life, but also just people who carry those kind of the energies represented by this card of intuition, intuitive ability, creativity, compassion, consideration, connect, like emotional sensitivity, emotional intelligence to some degree. But this is the page. The page also, each character, each court card also represents a different level of mastery of the element, right? So this could suggest to me that the page usually is associated with like children. The knight is associated with like teenagers into like young adults, and then the king and the queen are associated with mastery or adult, or the adults, or mastery of that element, if that makes sense. So from 35 and older is considered like king and queen energy, and from 34 to like 2018 is considered knight energy, and from birth to 18 or birth to 17 is page energy. So with that background information in mind, this card would suggest to me that growing up, you probably was a pretty sensitive person. You probably, to some degree, was creative till you like were living in like your head in the clouds kind of energy. Always thinking about creative ideas, and even being like kind of considerate and compassionate individual. Nurturing, looking out for other people, wanting to make sure other people good and stuff like that. That you even have the Six of Pentacles, and the Six of Pentacles traditionally is a card that represents having is like an overflow of abundance that you share it. You know what I mean? You basically could suggest an energy that this card would suggest that you probably was a person who were very giving and very sharing. You know what I mean? You like to give and you like to share. But you have this card. So just seeing this card here could suggest to me that probably you was one of them people. And then use a Libra. So this actually make a lot of sense, because Libra is like the diplomat of the zodiac. Libra is the peacekeeper of the zodiac. So Libra is the type of person that want to make sure that everybody else good, even to the detriment of themselves. Right. So one of the things about one of like the shadow qualities of Libra is that they could be people pleasers, giving to others and not necessarily considering or keeping or giving to themselves. So me seeing this card as we talking about healing, this could suggest that you probably was a person that was giving a lot of your time and a lot of your energy and not necessarily getting in return. Now, this card here, you just watch the card and this person look like the kind of lonely staring through the glass. So I don't know if you was an only child, or you probably was a person that didn't, growing up, you probably was a person that didn't have a lot of people around you,
All right. You want to play no more? All right, enough. We still want to play this fucking more. Nisi.
That's when you got it don't start, so you gotta let it finish.
Okay,
But
go ahead.
this could suggest this just looking at this card, this could feel like you were given a lot. but you didn't necessarily receive a lot. But also you didn't have a lot of people in your corner or around you to kind of like uplift you and comfort you in your times of need and stuff of that nature. But also this could suggest that like this card, the traditional meaning of this card or the typical meaning of this card is like a need for planning and organization. So I don't know if maybe you was like maybe a structured individual. So because you were kind of like the type of person, and then that's another thing, because with Libra is ruled by Venus, right? But Libra is also very much influenced by Saturn, which is an energy of rigidity and structure. So even though the Venus energy of Libra could be like welcoming, comforting, luxurious and beautiful and stuff like that, the Saturn influence of Libra can also be like very rigid, very structured, very organized and stuff like that. So because remember, Libra comes right after Virgo, which is that energy of structure and organization and even perfection to some degree. So Libra gonna have some level of like Virgo-esque kind of influence to some degree as well, with a need to be organized and structured. The reason I'm saying all of that there is another thing that come into mind. One of the ways that this could probably play out is that you were probably like a person who were, like I said, very organized, very structured. So it's like when people come around you, you probably being rigid and things like that, doing certain things in that might not necessarily make people want to be around you, So as a result of that, you might end up being like a bit like lonely to yourself, or even probably when people were around you, you just didn't really feel like a genuine connection with them. You felt like they were kind of there, but it wasn't like they were really there for you, that kind of way. So I don't know. That's some of the scenarios that cross in my mind. But ultimately, this looked like a card of loneliness, So having like toys, but having to play by yourself, because you see they got the two sticks, they got a globe, they got a picture, like it's a coloring book and stuff like that. This could suggest to me having to play by yourself. That's why I asked if like you are only child or something like that. Now the Eight of Cups. Let me see. Let me try to remember what the Eight of Cups traditionally looks like. Eight of Cups. The seven. Oh, no. Oh, where's my phone? I'm gonna look this up quick, because I don't do readings as frequently as I did once. So sometimes I need a little memory jog.
It says leaving behind something familiar for a new journey,
Oh.
often involving.
Oh, okay. All right. Now I remember. Yeah. So the Eight of Cups usually depicts a person like walking away from like a stack of cups, right? But like the cups actually like balanced. Or okay. So you have the bottom layer is 4 cups, and then the second layer is 3 cups, but in between there's a space that suggests like the cup, like a cup is missing, because you have 3 cups instead of 4, and then the 4th cup is like stacked on top of the space that's missing. So and then all of that, those stuff are actually behind of the person. So it suggests like a need to actually walk away from what you feel you might have missed, or you feel might be missing in your life, right? But or at that time in your life, maybe in your childhood, struggles that you might have had from your childhood, where you felt like a void for things you might not have gotten in your childhood, and this card being reversed suggests that you probably have a hard time walking away from the difficulties in your childhood that you might not have been able to overcome or recover from in your life. You know what I mean? So yeah, there's a need to walk away to basically address, like, I feel like this is very childhood related, because like I said, the first card is the Page of Cups, which represents like children, or our childhood, early life, getting familiar with those aspects of life. Cups is emotions, so getting familiar with our emotions, and learning to balance how we express our emotions, and our sensitivities in life and stuff like that. Being emotionally vulnerable and stuff like that. Maybe you might have been like as an emotionally vulnerable individual where you would share your feelings, but then it might not have necessarily been well received, or people might be like, "Oh, you's a boy, you know what I mean? You gotta be strong, you gotta be tough. Don't cry, me want to hear it." That kind of way. These kind of things might be energies that might represent the Page of Cups, or like challenges that you might have experienced in your childhood that you have trouble walking away from. And the last card that you have is the Ten of Wands, right? And you could see this card, this person basically carrying a lot of baggage. So I mean that in itself suggests, so this card represents like the burdens that we carry, right? So ultimately there's a need to, I mean, it's still like you see the person like believing something, believing somewhere, but even though they leaving somewhere, they still hauling a lot of baggage. You check. So in this card here, you struggling to walk away, right? You walking away, just like you leaving here. But even though you walking away, you're struggling to walk away and leave behind the things that you don't need. You know what I mean? You're taking everything with you. And really and truly, these experiences are meant to actually like teach us certain things, and then we take what we learn and leave what we don't need. You know what I mean? But this basically suggests that you walking forward with all the challenges, difficulties, the hard memories, and hard experiences that you had that actually contributing to this feeling of heaviness that you probably carrying on your shoulders. You know what I mean? So therapy is a serious is an important thing, man.
So what's your final words for the people before you leave?
Hakeem, I could see this will be the last time we ever meet. This
We
ain't
could do it,
happening again.
We could do it, but I mean, you can't listen, right? I had to tell people, right? Tarot is something that you do only if you're ready to hear what you need to hear, right? Because tarot ain't gonna tell you what you want to hear, it's gonna tell you what you need to hear. And sometimes what you need to hear ain't necessarily what you want to hear. You know what I mean? So anytime you step forward to do these kind of things, you gotta make sure like you're prepared for what's gonna come out, because it might be light, it might be heavy, but ultimately it's gonna be a blessing nonetheless.
We just take a breath, gotta breathe.
That was a lot.
I'm so glad Hakeem was like full screen most of the time, because I was like,
No, you were over there green and
no, but I was like, biting my neck. Don't break
I
your
could see
nail,
you.
like, girl.
Like I could see you. That was a lot.
Ooh.
All right. The tarot is real, people, and yeah. Wow.
So Nisi, you up next?
Yes. Okay. So I basically, it's funny that you said what you said, because my question was basically, what does Nisi need to hear that nobody else can tell her?
Oh wow. You sure you want to put that out there?
That, I mean, we up, right?
That nobody else can tell me.
Yeah, because sometimes.
Hey. That's what
You
friends
ready?
are for, right?
You ready for this?
With friends like these.
Oh man, that was very heavy. I ain't gonna lie.
So why you just keeping the heaviness? You could do something light.
I mean, hey, we're talking about balancing energy, right?
Yeah.
Can't necessarily go from heavy on one side to light on the next side. Come on, that's a clear imbalance there.
Not necessarily.
Denial ain't just a river in Africa for people.
It's not.
What's the question again?
What does Nisi need to hear that nobody else can tell her? And then all the comments for me was, okay, you need to go to therapy. Go to therapy. Oh man, this was supposed to be fun.
I
Nisi
mean,
giving
it
me
is
full.
having fun for me. I don't know about you, but I having fun.
I bet you are. What's Nisi's full name?
You see, you gotta get the people what they want.
I don't have to give them nothing.
Her name is Tanisha. Her real name is Tanisha.
I He knows my real name.
Nisi is sufficient, man. I only wanted to know your real name because, like I said, Jah is God. You check, so I ain't want to confuse the energy, you know.
I can know my real name.
Yeah.
Ah,
They pull your full government.
I know they just dropping. I tell you, this is more about me than it's about you. They all invested.
Okay.
This is crazy.
Shit, I can't tell. I couldn't tell the last couple rounds.
I feel like Nisi have a decent reading. I don't feel like is as heavy as Jah, you
Well,
know.
that'd be cool.
But
That's cool.
but yeah, based on what I seen here, I feel like you have to live your life more for yourself and not necessarily for you know, the acknowledgement or the fulfillment or the recognition that you probably internally desire, right? And the reason I say that, I'll break down the cards so you could kind of understand why I say so, right? So the first card you have is the Magician. The Magician is a card that represents like our ability to manifest all the things that we want for ourselves, right? With this card, the question is, do you really want it? Because everything that you need to manifest the life that you desire is already there for you, right? It's already laid out for you. It's already presented for you. All the tools are present. You know what I mean? It's just for you now to set the intention and do the work necessary to manifest it, right? But you have the Nine of Swords reversed, and the Nine of Swords reversed is a card that represent like mental and emotional well, I mean, it's primarily mental because swords are mental, but I mean, you see this person crying, you know, so it represent like a mental difficulty. It could even, I mean, traditionally, you see the person have a pillow next to them. Traditionally, in the traditional tarot deck, you see a woman laying in, like, sitting up in bed crying, you know, and this could suggest that like there's a certain level of like mental challenge that you're dealing with that nobody really knows about, you know, and it might be related to, you know, this. So now this is interesting because remember, I don't know if you remember in the first reading we had get the Six of Wands, which had let me as a matter of fact, let me look it up so I could show you the difference in how some cards are like depicted differently. So this is the Six of Wands in this deck. This is the Light Seers Tarot, right? And remember I was telling y'all with this card here, remember this card? The Six of Wands typically or traditionally represents like a need for like acknowledgement and recognition, which is why the Six of Wands is depicted this way in this deck, where they have a lady basically standing on stage under the spotlight, right? So it's like the sign, the thing said triumph, success, recognition, right? But you have it reversed, so it could suggest that instead of manifesting the joy, happiness, peace, and fulfillment that you desire, for some reason you have been manifesting sadness, frustration, depression as a result of a lack of acknowledgement, right? So now a lot of things that we manifest in our life is a result of our own like beliefs, philosophies, and, you know, our own outlook on life. Maybe, you know, we had challenges growing up where, you know, maybe the people who were our parents or, you know, our friends and family probably used to like pull us down or try to make us feel like less than we are or less capable than we actually were. And even though we within ourselves know that we're more capable and we have the ability to do whatever, we're more likely to be successful at what we set our mind to. In the back of our mind, we kind of see, and I hear that they went off. That's, to me, that's confirmation. But see, come on, God speaking, man, God speaking. But yeah, how I look at that is like, where you might have had experiences where like you believe that you were capable of doing certain things, but the people around you didn't necessarily feel like you were able to do it, or didn't necessarily like share those words of upliftment with you when you needed to hear it the most. So a part of you, even though you have a lot of like confidence in your own ability, there is still a fear of failure, or a fear of not being well received or recognized for all the things that you are capable of doing, and properly acknowledged for all the things that you are capable of doing, right? But ultimately, again, going back to the magician card, you have the ability to manifest what you want for yourself. And I'm going to tell you a story, right? And then I'm going to close off this reading. I firmly believe that whatever you set your heart and your mind to, you will get, you can manifest it almost instantly, right? But your heart and your mind, so the theme is balance in general. Going back to the card, the first reading, there's a need for balance of the masculine and the feminine, the mental and the emotional, because masculine is mental and emotional is feminine, right? That's basic, because we always say think like a man, right? But act like a lady or whatever. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus, or men are logical and women are emotional, right? So ultimately, there's always a need to balance the mental and the emotional in order to do anything in life successfully, right? You have to have the right thoughts, and you have to have the willpower and the desire, the emotional desire to actually go through the process to manifest what you're thinking of, right? So to tell you the story, I remember a time I decided that I was going to start doing my own mechanic work, right? I felt like I remember I had a co-worker that I used to work with in UVI, and I had a conversation with him one time where he was like, come, he gonna help me to install my deck in my car. And I was like, well, I was going to go to this guy by Buster's Electronics to do it, and that's what my father to do. And he was like, yeah, you could do that. But I mean, if you really think about it, me and you is college educated people, not saying that this man dumb, but at the end of the day, if he ain't went to college and he is able to do it, why can't you and I, who are college educated, figure it out too? It's not like it's rocket science, right? It's something that we if we apply ourselves, we would be able to figure it out same way. So that's actually something that stuck with me throughout my entire life, where anything that I decide to do, if I feel compelled to do it, I would actually take some time to look into it and try to understand it, so I could feel to myself whether or not I could determine to myself whether or not it's something within my realm of capability or not. You know what I mean? And once I feel like I'm capable of doing it, then I'll go. So mechanic work is something that I've always aspired to kind of be capable of doing, right? I would always try to do any little mechanic work, because I have a friend who does mechanic work, and he would do work for me every now and again. So I always was one person that I would try to like shadow him and see what he's doing, so that if I ever get in a problem again, I could at least know how to diagnose it and how to approach it, So at one point in my life recently, I decided that I'm going to start doing my own mechanic work, and as long as I have the right tools necessary, I should be able to do certain things, right? And it had a day I was sitting in my mother's house, and I was online looking for an impact driver. An impact driver is something that you use to drive screws into wood and them kind of thing, right? But it's a powerful drill, basically, is not an impact wrench. An impact wrench is what they use to take off your tires and so on for your vehicle when you go to the tire shop. That some kind of them kind of powerful drill kind of gun. That's an impact wrench. But an impact wrench is obviously more expensive than an impact driver. So I learned that you could use an impact driver in place of an impact wrench for certain mechanic jobs, right? Or certain things for mechanics. So I decided, I was here sitting, looking through Facebook, not Facebook, eBay and Amazon and stuff for an impact driver. And again, at this moment, I had just determined to myself that, man, I could do this mechanic thing by myself, man. These things that need to be done. I'm not saying like heavy, like removing, like taking out an engine and dropping a transmission. I think I could do this. I could do my own mechanic work. But I had a deep level of confidence and faith in my own ability to do that. And I believe and I felt to myself that I could do that. I started looking for a mechanic, like I said, an impact driver. Something tell me to go look in the living room. Cause my uncle, he's staying here right now, and he have some tools in the living room. So I go and look in the living room. When you look, I see a box with a brand new drill kit with an impact driver and a drill. When you look now, I end up talking to my uncle about it. He was like, oh, he just happened to be walking through Home Depot and they had it on sale, so he was just like, let he buy it. He had no need for it. He just bought it because it was on sale. He was like, you want it? You could have it, man. Boom. I got a new impact driver and a new drill. And that was like because I saw it one day and I probably spoke to him maybe like 2 or 3 days after. So it was like, to me, that was crazy that the same time I decided to myself that I am capable of doing this mechanic work and all I need to do is have the right tools. Here it is, the tools manifested for me, right? And the impact driver were one thing, but literally within a month, I had just about all the tools that I needed to change to like do the work that I was trying to do, right? Even to like I was going Home Depot and looking for different things, and one day I went and I see like a socket kit. Next day I come back, the thing they half off. You know what I mean? So it was just things aligned because I felt to myself I was capable of doing certain things. So to bring all of that there back to the reading, the magician card is a card of having everything that you need to manifest the things that you want for yourself. But in any kind of spiritual practice, your intention and your belief in your ability to do what you're trying to do is essential, is key. And this ain't just like spiritual practice. This is even like in producing a podcast. You know what I mean? At one point in your life, you had to have that thought to yourself, like, wow, I could actually do this podcast. This ain't that complicated. And you start to go through the process in your mind as to how you're going to like manifest this podcast. But then in your heart, you still had to believe to yourself that you're able to go through the steps to manifest the podcast. And here it is, you have a successful podcast. You check. So I said, I still got 2 more cards, but like I say, this suggests that you're capable of a lot more than you really believe to yourself that you're capable of. And rather than letting your own belief in your capability be determined by whether or not you receive that acknowledgement and fulfillment and recognition by others who might be viewing you, you're being encouraged to focus on your own happiness and fulfillment and your own sense of peace, right? Because here it is, you have the 9 of Cups. And I mean, you could just look at that card, and that card just look like joy. It's almost like she jumping out of a chest, a chest of gold, or she find the gold at the end of the rainbow. So it's like now she jumping for joy, right? And the last card here is the 7 of Wands. Now the 7 of Wands is a card that typically represents, or it depicts a person standing on a hilltop with a wand, and it shows 6 other wands like kind of attacking this individual. So it's like this person defending themselves or standing their ground. But in this deck here, you see 7 wands down to the bottom, like you're trying to attack this person's bubble or this person's space, invade this person's space. But despite the attacks from outside, this person maintaining a state of peace or a state of zen. right? So it's important that when you're trying to manifest things for yourself, rather than focusing on things that might not necessarily be going wrong, I mean, that might not necessarily be going the way that you want it, or whether or not people acknowledge you or appreciate what you're doing, you should focus on maintaining your state of peace, your state of zen, and manifesting the fulfillment that you want for yourself. This is what you begin with, and this is what you end with, right? It's essential that you set your intention, but in the pursuit of manifesting the things that you want for yourself, you have to focus on maintaining a state of peace and fulfillment, right? Keep your eyes on the prize, which is the fulfillment, but maintain the peace throughout the challenge and the difficulties in order to manifest what you want for yourself. Because ultimately, what you focus on is what you manifest. If you focus on, and it's not like that like what's the word I'm looking for? The cliche of just focusing on positive thinking. I mean, of course, it's essential to focus on positive thinking, but it's not just about focusing on positive thinking. It's about acknowledging that there are challenges and difficulties that happens in life, but not letting it impact you or distract you from what it is that you're really trying to focus and manifest for yourself. And that's where this comes in. You maintaining a state of zen despite the challenge and difficulties, and you're keeping your eyes on the prize, which is the fulfillment and satisfaction that you're seeking in your life. Once you're able to do that, you'll manifest whatever you want for yourself. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Boom.
So how did that reading resonate with you, Nisi?
I'm gonna answer, but I want your opinion first. What did you think?
You know what? That seems so personal that I don't know. It seemed more like it might be work, or like, you know what I'm saying, like defending a position. I'm wondering which position you might be feeling like you need to defend. You know what I'm saying? And people like
Again, like I said, right? So the traditional meaning of this card is having to defend your position, right? But this, like I said, there are meanings that set for the cards individually, but then there's also meanings that you can derive from the imagery of the card. And this card here, when you look at the imagery of the card, it's not necessarily representing defending yourself. It's more like maintaining your sense of peace and
like I'm good regardless.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I think that it was primarily spot on. I am a huge believer in manifestations. I can tell you that. That much I was expecting to say that about the manifestation. And speaking things into existence and things like that. So that's always been things that speak to me. Like sometimes I would just like send Ja a message, or one of my friends a message, and be like, "Hey, this crossed my mind about you," and I just give them a message or a manifestation. And also, I'm a very big person of my peace. So the last card I can relate to it. Like at the end of the day, whatever happened, my peace is the most important thing. And I try to center my decisions around not disturbing my peace. Or if I have to alter my peace, it's because there's an imbalance that needs to be rebalanced in order to maintain my peace. So there's a lot of good things that I can take from it that you said.
Okay. So my question would be, do you ever like this does this ever like affect you, or is that relevant in any way where you feel distressed or bothered in any way because of maybe a lack of acknowledgement or acceptance or recognition or something of that nature? Have you ever felt that way, or do you struggle with that in any way?
I would say I don't. I do struggle with certain things, but the acknowledgement isn't one of them. Like I have a amazing team around me that constantly encourages and supports me. Like if it's not my core people, I don't let it bother me. Like you have to be, like you have to mean something to me for me to allow what you think to for it to affect me.
See, now this year, I was focusing on this year, trying to figure out where it connected with her. You get what I'm saying? Like,
So,
but
well,
now,
well,
now
go
that
ahead.
it, but now that we talk it out, I'm like, we just had a conversation about somebody saying basically like you ain't never such and such. Who you telling me that? Me, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, so it sounds like it's talking about work, but I could think of relationships that she's been in where it's like, yeah, them man really played in your face. Like,
And then another thing too. Remember, this is a card of success, victory, and a sense of pride, right?
Mhm.
And with it being reversed, it could suggest that there is some level, somewhere in your life where you struggle with being proud, being accepting like your pride. You want to be like humble, you know what I mean, rather than kind of allowing your light to just shine and outshine other people. You know what I mean? So like, say for instance, I is one of the, I remember there were times like say for in a time I was at an event, right? At a reggae event, and I performed, and I wasn't supposed to perform, but they end up calling me on stage because they know me and they know how to sing. So they end up calling, and then the people who were backing the band who was backing the artist, were a band that were part of a band that I were actually in. So they end up calling me on stage to do a little thing. And when I look at how I performed on the stage after a specific artist, the crowd was more like receptive to what I was doing than what the artists were doing. You check. So now beforehand, the artist like hail me up and daps me up and so. Afterwards, now this man passing me straight. You check. So I was kind of wondering to myself, like, what if I probably need to like, me want to outshine this man, or like, I probably should like dim it down or tone it down because it will really his show, that kind of way. But at the end of the day, sometimes you just gotta let your light shine, and whoever get overshadowed, outshine, it just mean they just weren't meant to shine. That just wasn't their day. It was your day. And like I said, sometimes we want to humble ourselves for the sake of others, but and it's so funny because this card came right after this card. You check where like the light toning down the light, let the light shine, that kind of way. So it's like, I ain't saying that you probably don't shine your light enough, but maybe you could shine your light a little more too.
I will say that I don't like to be in the spotlight. Like I don't dim my light, but I don't like the spotlight. Like I
But
don't I
how
like
you don't
I,
like the spotlight that you done
wait,
a
like
whole
a joke
podcast?
I would say is like I'm a curtain puller. Because if I don't pull the curtain open, then there's nobody can see the show. Like if you could be dancing behind the stage, if the curtain isn't open, you can't see the show, right? So my joke is like I'm a curtain puller. I will pull the curtain, make sure the props are up, whatever, 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 to make sure that because that's all part of the experience. Now I will do a good job of what I'm supposed to do, but I don't need to be the main person in order
yeah.
to, you know what I mean? Like that's more me.
But okay, so explain to me how you just tell me that you don't care to be in the spotlight,
Can
but
I can I
you are
go?
a key component of a podcast.
Because I
She
don't. Go ahead,
The
Doc.
podcast is 3+ years old. She only just now, after me begging and pulling and pushing and please, 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 the people love you. Like she's only just now became a consistent person on the show. Like I don't know well, I know you haven't watched full episodes and stuff, but for a while there, it literally was just me.
Yeah. I would more see. I honestly, when I see clips, I would more see you, and I would see her
Yeah,
every now and again. But it
that's what
was
I'm saying.
always consistent.
Yeah,
Because
and
I
the
was
now and
behind
again
the
is
stage, like, what
now.
do you need me to do, Jack? Like, you need me to do this and you want me to do that. And then he'd be like, I need you to come on the show. I'd be like, Like,
Yeah,
is there something else I can do besides come on the show? So, but again, I got good feedback, like Jar would say, like people were like, yeah, but I don't live and thrive on it, but I just like I don't. That's not where I care to be. Like I have to be like in the lead, or I have to be in charge, or I have to be in the spotlight. Like my light is my light, and I attract people all the time with my light, and so I don't dim it because mostly you don't. This is like an hour or two of my day, once or twice a week, like consistently. Like my energy, I give my energy to people that receive my energy well, and so, but I don't need to be like, oh, like Nisi, like you did such a great job. But I know I know I did a good job because I did it. Like I don't do things because even if I don't want to do it, I do it because that's what my energy tells me to do. Like you can do this, you can support this and whatever, and that's just me.
Yeah.
See, no, we're gonna kind of bring this back to the previous reading. I mean, the
Balance.
first reading. Remember the first reading? Yeah, talk about a need for balancing the masculine and the feminine energy in order for the
I'm
podcast to
here.
continue to be successful. You know, so it's obviously we on the right track. That's the point.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but if we really want to talk about balance, you know, Jai, you're gonna need to take a vacation and Nisi gonna go run it by herself for a little bit. You know, oh, let me not say take a vacation, but you don't gotta take a back seat and push in the front seat for a little bit.
Let's learn to crawl before we walk. Because she's done, like I told you, we've been doing this for years. She's done exactly one episode without me, and even then I was working the controls in the back. So let's just easy. I've been trying to ease into it, but like even times I'll be like, hey, can you just do it with this person, just talk. And even when she did that episode, you could tell she was like nervous.
That's funny. Well, I mean, it's all a process. But yeah, get accustomed to and you know, it's funny because I was just talking to somebody just today self, saying that, you know, you really can be successful in life if you ain't willing to step into the spotlight. I mean, you can be successful, you know, but if you really want to be like wealthy and like fulfilled, a lot of times you have to, and not stepping into the spotlight as in like being on stage or being in a literal spotlight, but you have to put yourself in a position where you're being seen and acknowledged and recognized by the public, because ultimately your wealth and your riches will come literally from the public, because they have to be aware of the services that you offering, you know, the crafts that you provide, that you you know, distributing or whatever, and they have to acknowledge it and recognize it as something worthwhile to then give you their money, your check, which will help you to build your wealth. So ultimately you have to be willing to put yourself out there in certain capacities in order for you to attract the wealth and the abundance that you're really seeking for yourself, because wealth and abundance don't grow in a vacuum. You know what I mean? Even if you look at like plants in the garden, you know what I mean? You could plant a plant in a pot, but that plant ain't growing on its own. It need the nutrients from the soil, it need the water, and it need the sun. You check? So it have to have an addition, it have to have like help in order to grow and sprout, or to sprout and grow and spread its branches, you know what I mean? So at the same time, you as an individual, you have to be willing to like put yourself out there so that the rest of the people will lift you up, you know? And this ain't specific to you. This is just, you know, anyone who is aiming to be successful, wealthy, experience abundance and fulfillment in life. We have to be, you know, willing to put ourselves in a position where others could lift us up, you know?
Yeah. You're saying get my life coaching off the ground, no problem.
Oh, that's another thing we've been trying to get.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Yeah, she does not want to be at the forefront of anything. Really.
Well, and you see, that's probably
I will take the forefront, but is it like a publicized forefront of that? I don't.
That's literally what we talking about.
But that's probably what this card really recommend. Remember, I said, you know, cards can when cards come up reverse, it suggests that that's an energy that we're struggling with or energy that we need to release. And obviously, this is a card where somebody's in the spotlight, And just based on this conversation, you see obviously struggles with being in the spotlight. You know what I mean? So this is, to me, this is direct confirmation of the card and the relevance of it in her life. I mean, I don't know how much more confirmation you would need to see that not astrology, but tarot is relevant. You know what I mean?
It's true. It's true. Yeah. Yeah, you can't
So,
say that card that wasn't meant for she for real.
yeah. So yeah, man. That's tarot for you, man. Like I tell you, it ain't gonna always tell you what you want to hear. It's gonna tell you what you need to hear. And sometimes what you want to hear ain't what you need to hear ain't necessarily what you want to hear, but you need to hear it nonetheless.
Question.
Yeah.
Do we have time to do a quick one for Maria? I don't want to leave her stranded. She was like the first question in the chat. Do you have time to do a quick one for her?
Yeah, why not? I mean, why not? What was her question again? If she's gonna get out of the situation she's in.
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. That's perfect. This is a good opportunity for me to use this next deck here. Like wow.
Yeah.
So this here now. Okay, so this now is a deck of Spanish playing cards that they actually use for divination as well. So fun fact, the actual term for divination with cards is called cartomancy. Basically using cards to fortune telling purposes. But this is a playing card deck, a Spanish playing card deck. And this deck is more like specific to like yes or no's, and it is not as detailed in terms of the information that you could get from the tarot that you could get from this deck here. This deck is more of like a straight direct answer kind of reading, or kind of card set of cards, I should say. Okay, Spirit, what you got for Maria Hendricks? Will she get out of the situation that she's in? This one, I'm gonna just do 3 for this one here. 2, 1. Okay, so I would say yes. Based on the cards that I see, I would say yes. But ultimately, is for her to make the decision to actually seek her own fulfillment, right? So you have 3 cards: the 9 of Cups, the 2 of Swords, and the Jack of Cups, right? So the 9 of Cups and Cups in general, like I mentioned before, represent emotional energy, whereas Swords represent mental energy, right? But in this deck, the Swords also represent like challenge and conflict, right? And 2 is the number of decision, right? So anytime like 2 comes up, there's always like a need for a decision to be made. Now, the Jack of Cups is usually represents a woman. They have like these descriptions that they have. Sometimes they say a person who's like of a darker complexion with black hair, or someone who is of a lighter complexion with yellow hair and stuff like that. I don't subscribe to all of them kind of stuff, because those descriptions and things were determined historically in the culture or the environment that these cards originated. So that doesn't necessarily apply, but it is reflective of like a feminine or a female, right? And the cups this could suggest somebody who's a Pisces, Scorpio. I interpret it the same way as like the Page of Cups, right? But ultimately, this card is a card that could represent a need for seeking fulfillment, trying to get your cup filled, right? Or a lot of times we end up in the situations that we're in because we put in other people's fulfillment and satisfaction over our own, right? And it's only when you decide to focus on your own fulfillment, make that decision to focus on your own fulfillment, that's when things actually look up for you and you can experience the fulfillment that you're seeking. So yes, to answer her question, yes, she will get out of the situation that she's in, but she have to make the decision to actually remove herself from the situation, because at the end of the day, I always tell people, your life is only one decision away from being totally different. It's not like anybody have a gun to our head and like trying to force us to stay in certain predicaments. Don't get me wrong. I know sometimes when when a woman there with a man, the man would kind of like threaten them and intimidate them, which is why we would want to choose a bear, because the bear ain't gonna threaten you like a man gonna threaten you. But at the end of the day, whether a man threatening you or somebody putting you down, you still making a conscious decision to remain in that particular situation. And even if your life is at stake, which one would you prefer? Would you prefer to live in fear, or would you prefer to die freely, or to die free? Right? And I mean that's kind of like it's just poor options in general. But at the end of the day, it's always better to live a life, however short it may be, that's lived on your terms, than to live a long life under somebody else's thumb. You know what I mean? Because then you can't really, what kind of quality of life do you really have? So just to keep it short, the fulfillment is there, the exit is there at any time. It's just for her to make the decision and to follow through with the decision, to take the actions necessary to get where she wants to go, to remove herself out of the situation that she's in.
Boom. Boom. This was our first Tarot Thursday. Y'all tell us what you think. I got a lot of questions answered. It was surprisingly emotionally vulnerable for me. So yeah, I got beat up a little bit. It was a rough ride, but we do it for you people.
Her name Maria says she wanted to hear Nisi feedback on this.
Oh, you hear that? What's your feedback on what was said? You muted.
Oh, I was like, I know Maria. That's probably what she's asking for my feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And I would
Do you know the
say,
situation?
no, I don't know the situation,
Oh, okay.
but I know her. I would say yes, I agree. Maria has an extremely big heart that she would give the last drop of blood to somebody in need in order for them to survive, but it is not returned to her in the way that she needs, since she ends up in these situations where people take advantage of her good heart. So if Maria, I agree, sometimes you have to say no to protect yourself, and however they feel about it is on them, because you have to value how you feel first. So I think it was really spot on, and hopefully you make the choice to choose you, and that improves your life tremendously.
So, oh wow, this is
There
on
we
point.
go. This was on the point. Wow. Would you look at that?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, man. Damn. So yeah, this was
But
you 3 for
damn, but you
3.
see how Akeem snipe on me at all time.
He ain't gonna let go.
I just want I want the people to know I get 3 shots and they all hit me.
So not only was he 3 for 3 on throwing shade, he was also 3 for 3 on the tarot readings. So hey, you tonight, man. You did good. You did good.
I love them numbers, boy. I love them.
Oh boy, this guy. All right, so
How we get here?
I don't know. So
Oh,
yeah,
I
that
on
was,
the spotlight. Never mind.
yeah. Nishi catch histories all night. Good. She usually the one
Jerica?
throwing them. So yeah. What's your final words? I like it. I wouldn't mind doing it again if you got some time. You know what I'm saying? But hey, it's up to the people. Them.
I mean, I don't have a problem with it. The question is how we gonna go about doing it, because I mean, I don't know if it's gonna be fun if I just constantly come in and reading you two alone. You know what I mean? Unless we do kind of similar to how we did with Maria, where Maria they pose a question and then, the only thing I would say is that it would have to be a limited number, because I guarantee you, once you start doing this, everybody gonna want to do a reading. Everybody and the mother gonna want to do a reading.
Yeah, so I was thinking, maybe 2-3 readings, or even have them send us something in advance. You know what I'm saying, that they want to get a reading and go from there. I don't mind doing it.
Or maybe like they support the podcast in some way in order to own the reading, that kind of way. Something like that. I don't know. Come up with some kind of creative thing.
But yeah, y'all let us know.
I'm with it.
Y'all let us know what you think.
Support, Job, before we sign off. Speaking of support, remember we talked about I will be doing a raffle for our Vibez Natural, see my jar, product. I will be doing a raffle, a giveaway. I want to know, see how my jar almost empty. I be using my product. All them little fingerprint, my finger in there. I be using it. So tomorrow, Akeem will be in Sunny Isles from 12 to 6. In order to enter the raffle, we need to go to Sunny Isles and take a selfie with Akeem and DM the page your picture to get entered in the raffle. We're giving away some products. We're probably gonna pull the name on Sunday. Sunday's my birthday. Maybe I'll be on, maybe I won't. But we'll raffle it away. So go check Akeem tomorrow, 12 to 6 in Sunny Isles. Take a picture. Akeem gonna be busy selling products. So just take the picture, keep it moving. You gotta be in it with him. Send it to the chat. We add your name to the list. We'll raffle some product. Akeem, I don't know what Akeem's doing. He said he gonna put a package together. I ain't picking nothing. You know what he wants you to sample, and that's who's gonna win it. So do that.
So there you go. Big announcement. So if you stayed to the end, congratulations. You have to be, of course, in Sunny Isles, in St. Croix, to meet up with the God Butter guy himself. Go ahead and link up with Akeem, take a picture, DM the same difference page, and we'll enter your name into the raffle to win. Oh man, Maria says she can't be there. See, that's the problem with live streaming. So what? I don't know any other way around it. I sorry.
If nobody goes tomorrow to take a picture, that we'll do something else. But I highly doubt nobody will go.
No, I need to show up. Go show up and support. Even just for that. Just go show up and support.
Yeah. It looks like you're gonna come up with a separate raffle for online viewers or remote viewers.
Yeah, that's too easy, man. That's too easy. We've done it before.
Yes. Let it come to Sunny.
So you're gonna work on the sample set or whatever?
Yeah, that day is late work, man.
Okay. All right. There you go. Yeah, Maria, you guys stay tuned. We gonna do something for Ayo, who is off island and stuff. We can't do all like that. Hell, I off island.
So wait. So Jerica. Oh, shoot, I was just about to ask.
Jerica sent it out.
She's won like all the rest.
She don't win all of them.
And I see Jerica just this week, so she really don't need to join this thing.
All right. So anybody want to go first for the final words? I mean, you're the guest, sir. What did you think about the episode? Would you like to do more? Let us know. How can the people reach you?
Well, it was fun for me. I always, like I tell you, I kind of feel like part of my purpose in life is to share knowledge and insight with the people, and I'm just grateful for opportunity to display this side of my personality. This one of my many lives that I've lived. And, it's always great to be able to share that information on that side of myself with the public. So anybody interested in doing readings separately, always feel free to contact me. You can inbox me on Facebook, Akeem Jayut McIntosh. That's Jahyute. Or you can inbox me at my business page, Vibez Natural.
There you go. Nisi, what's your final words?
I want to say, I almost wanted to say thank you for coming again, but I'm still wounded right now. So, I
Where you wounded from? Because I read your fortune, or because
not the
I was trying
strains.
my
Them
shots?
that hit main arteries and organs. Them that ain't even graze my shoulder and stuff. They ain't like I admitted at this point. But thanks for coming
Well,
on.
What you say?
just know you gotta wear your armor when I come around.
Uh-uh.
See why my decision is my decision. Anyway, thanks for coming on. I appreciate this is very insightful, very I won't say eye opening, but definitely informative. Um very in tuned, very aligned. I appreciate it. Hopefully I appreciated his. His was a little bit more on a deeper level. And Maria appreciated her. So if you guys want to see more, let us know. We'll do it again for you guys because I good. Um, but we'll do it again for you guys. But we appreciate you guys sticking around with us on this Tarot Thursday.
What I'd like to say, first and foremost, thank you, Akeem, for doing it and sharing this talent of yours, this gift, this spiritual gift of yours with us. Honestly, you spoke about not getting the recognition that you deserve, right? So I want to give you your flowers for everything that you do in and for the community. You know what I'm saying? And you're doing something different that most black men are not. You know what I'm saying? Focusing on skincare and all of that there when a lot of black men don't even care about their skin. You know what I'm saying? Like that's big. You out there in the community full time, you're singing, you're doing all these things, you're teaching, you know what I'm saying? Like big up to you. I have been feeling like the podcast does not get its fruits. So when you pull that card too, I was like, damn, is my reading us a filth? That I'm like, he really.
Hey, listen, right? I don't do the readings. I don't do the readings. Is the spirits them that pulling the cards? I'm just the conduit of the information. You know what I mean?
And everything you said hit. So this was an experiment, but I think the experiment went well, and I can consider myself a believer now after that day, because everything you said hit, and I'm like, wow, damn. Yeah, so I'm gonna just go to therapy. I'm gonna go back and re-enroll in therapy now. But y'all DM us, let us know if you want to do more of this, and also think about the fact that which other podcast is doing this. What are the other VI podcasts talking about, right? Who else gives you content like this, yeah? Serious, I'm just saying. Just think about that. But hey, follow Same Difference, tell your people about us. Come back, we'll be here live streaming Sunday for a different day with Ja and Nisi, and we'll be releasing the names for the giveaways. Do not forget, go ahead and support Akeem tomorrow, Sunny Isles from 12 to 6. Just go out there, and you ain't even got into the giveaway. If you got money, go ahead and buy a God butter. You will not regret it, I promise you. All right? But other than that, that's Akeem. That's Nisi. I'm Ja. This has been another live episode of Same Difference. Y'all be easy. We love you. We out.
Adios. Adios.